I'm in your house. I'm in your house. I'm in your house. Yay! Jump scare. Oh, jump scare. I'm still brain rotted and still girl failing. Hooray! It's me, your illustrious and not very intelligent MissedStrange. I missed the first stream because I was sleepy. That's okay, you're allowed to sleep. Mother! Am I mother? Can I be trusted with children? Chat. Poll. Can I be trusted with children? No, God. God, no. Well, joke's on you. I have an apprenticeship qualification in childcare. So on paper, yes. Better than some mothers. Oh, that's so true. Even though Peb, I do often condemn Peb to the jar. What canon I can't say. No, not the first thing you come in on. Hello, broken, defeated, hopeless. I'm gonna call you. I feel like it's weird if I say I call you broken, but it's weird if I call you defeated, and it's weird if I call you hopeless. Hi, hopeless. There's a reason it's an apprenticeship. Yeah, but apprenticeships mean something here. They mean something. They mean something here. In the United States of England. I don't know. I don't live here. I have made myself pie. I have made myself some water. I filled up my flask yesterday with like soju. I filled up my life with soju yesterday, and I can still taste it. So I had to wash it out. Wait, are we doing a double stream? We are doing a double stream. This is the second stream of today, as known for a double stream. What are you doing? I am teaching people how to get started in Dungeons and Dragons, or any tabletop. I want this to be as general as possible. If I can. If I can. Hey, Pat! Hey. Hi, Lilith. Army is looking at how things are made at the moment, and I was watching that earlier. And I am very intrigued by how things are made. She was showing this god-awful lasagna, though, and it made me feel actually ill because I was cooking, and I was like, ew, yucky lasagna. But today it's class day. It means I get to teach you things. Every Thursday, I try to teach people things. Okay. Oh, the lasagna. It was so bad, wasn't it? It was yucky lasagna. Okay, who turned in their homework? I do have some people's extra credits in here. I do have some people's extra credits in here. I will change the Doki Doki music, by the way. We won't listen to this all stream. Teach us more about Nigel? No, I'm going to teach you about a game or a thing that I know some of you are aware of, but you don't do. Because you either don't have a group or you're too scared to get into a D&D group. I'm going to change that. I'm going to change you. I'm going to come to your house and change you. Whoa, hold on. Rewind. That was kind of weird. Promise? What? You want to be changed? Whatever you're into. Yes, ayo. Ayo, ayo. Stop. Chat. How's the addiction going? I'm taking a break from my addiction. My strange addiction. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will be here all evening. I like the concept of RPG, but I didn't play that because of this. When you're playing tabletops, it's like you have the game master and then you have everyone else. And I love being the game master, so I was like,
it's time to stop. It's time to stop, okay?
I didn't do anything.
No. Where the are your parents?
Not in my house.
Who are your parents? I'm gonna call Child Protective Services. It's It's time to stop.
Get out of here. Boo. Boo. Thank you for the follow, Hopeless. Oh, no. Okay, sorry. The timing was very good. My ears. Ugh. Strange, Thaja. Let me give you a shout out. 19? Yo. 19 months. Blake has been here the longest, though. Blake has been the longest. I think he's on 22 or 23 at the moment, which is crazy. That's a long time. That's a long time to MissedStrange. I am old enough to vote. Yay! Oh, for all my UK audience, if you do not go out and get your ID and vote on May 1st, I will find you. That's to my UK audience. If you do not go and vote, I will kill you. Sorry, not to get too political, but exercise your right to vote. Blake's not old. Anyway, I'm going to go to work today. May I be excused? Oh, I guess you can be excused if you have to go to work. But it's okay. Before you go, these will all be edited down by myself and go on to Patreon for free, along with the slides after, I think the week after we do them, so because obviously I need time to work it, right? So if you do miss anything, you can look it up on YouTube, or you can look at the edited down version over on Patreon. Free members. Have a great day. That was my plug for today. I promise. Also, my cover song has reached over 100 views today. No, wrong button. You know what? Yeah, no, that's we're keeping it like that. We're keeping it like that. But over 100 views is so good. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Your cover song is good. Thank you. I do want to do more of them. So I'm really excited that I got to do this today. Why is this German? I can't read that. SMH. I don't know what any of that says. We're going to Google. Google, tell me what you just said. Google Translate. Google Translate, my beloved. Every day I imagine a future. Oh, you're so... Stop the different languages. Stop. Lads, ladies, and ladies, let's do a quick poll, because I think it's important to know. Question of the day: have you played any tabletop RPGs? Yeah. No. A quick poll for you guys. I'm going to ask you the simple question of, have you guys played any tabletop games? I want to see how many of you have and how many of you haven't, because I feel like this is more of a... This is kind of if you're already playing tabletop. Like, playing tabletop, for example. Obviously, I should probably preface this by saying, I am going to have a lot of these streams. When I was making this PowerPoint, when I was making this PowerPoint, there are like at least 3 or 5 points where I go, oh, we should do another stream on this, or we should do another stream on this, because there's so much stuff. This is supposed to be like a dip in your toes, like, you know, a little dip into the pond of tabletop GMing a game or DMing a game. And if you don't know what that means, don't worry, I will hold your hand and we'll work through it together. Because I say this a lot, but I get a lot of people in my community who are like, Strange, how do I play game? How do I play game? And I'm like, look, the best way to start playing tabletops, in my humble opinion, is to start by being a DM, because you will find countless players out there before you find countless DMs out there for you, right? And finding your GM style is actually easier, in my opinion, than finding a GM you like. Like, if you find out that you like you running a game a certain way. And also, I'm trying to alleviate forever DMs. Oh my god. I feel so bad when people are like, I'm going to be a forever DM. No, you shouldn't. But you should learn. I think everyone in a group should learn how to, even if you just run a one-shot, that is good. That is good, good stuff. Also, I have physical notes for this, chat. I have, hold on, let me get my book out. I have pen and paper for this. I got a physical notes. I take my job seriously. That or I'm just really insane and need an excuse to use all my pens. You decide. That's a hello, Cody. One shot only? You've only run a one shot before? That's interesting. One shots. I actually prefer running big games to one shots. Pay attention to class. I actually prefer running big games to one shots, but I've ran some really successful one shots and then some not really successful one shots. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 17 slides, not all of which are big slides. Like, most of them are, like, quite easy slides. I'll open class or doodle. I used to be the kid, I used to be the kid who used to write things in class. Like, it doesn't matter what class I was in, I was writing gay fanfic on the back of the test. Like, that's who I was. And that will never change. I don't think that will ever change. I exist during class, to be honest. Do you mean exist or not exist? Do you mean... What is this? Every day I'm in future. Oh, they're doing D&D stuff. Wow. Literally, as I'm looking in my chat. The strange kid? The slime kid? Do I look like I play with slime? Actually, don't answer that question. I think I do look like I play with slime. Yes, wow, that's evil.
It's time to play the game.
No, we're trying to learn.
Time to play the game.
I have the vibe of somebody who plays with slimes. You're joking. You're joking. You're joking. Let's put some lo-fi on, chat. Let's not, okay, let's put some, last time I put lo-fi on, I got copyright striked. So, lo-fi, no copyright. Not like an actual copyright strike, but like, it was like, this is copyrighted music, and I was like, there's no way. There's no way this is copyright. I was peeved. I was so peeved. For Strange's addiction. Maybe I will do a whole class on woo-wah. Would you guys want that, though? Would you want me to just talk about how much I love woo-wah already, as somebody who's played it for 2 fucking days? 2 days. Also, Hayasta was so cute earlier. I love Hayasta. They are so cute. I love the Italiano accent, and they rated me when I was playing Cyberpunk. Lo-fi hip-hop beats to make slime too. Shut the fuck up! I do not I do not make slime! I don't make slime! Oh, I bought Long Kitty. Ooh, Long Kitty. Long, long man. Sorry, you don't know that ad. You don't know that ad. I can't help you. Long and get back here. Hello, Jod, over on YouTube. I see you. I see you and I hear you. Don't worry, you cannot escape. Not the Japanese commercial reference. Look, I'm a fun teacher, okay? I think I'm fun. Am I old? That sounds really old when I say that. I think in my life, I embody the like cool art teacher, but like I don't do art. Does that make sense? Everyone's always thinks that I'm quite a hippie IRL. My friends think I'm like a hippie. Oh my god, am I actually? Oh no, I'm the art teacher. Sorry, I've just come across this realization. Be my class teacher, please. I would still like to be a teacher. I think I would still like that. Maybe I'll try. Chat, if I disappear for a year, just know I tried to be a teacher, okay? Like, if I graduate and I'm like... Ma'am, you're like someone who would say Aaron as Aaron. I used to have a friend called Aaron, and I would only call him Aaron, so you're kind of right. Or convince us otherwise that I'm not like the hippie teacher. I'll try. Is the music okay? Can you like just hear it? Get yourself a drink. Get yourself some food, some snacks, whatever you need. I have a Pepsi and a flask of water. I am dual wielding drinks at the moment because I'm having one drink for hydration and one drink for fun. And after this, I'm gonna go play Wooga. Even though I love my class teacher, I want another one. Okay, I will come over, Lucy. I'll learn German, and then I'll become your teacher, and then I will teach normally, and then when I do streams, I'll just pretend I don't do that. I think drinking almost 4 liters for me is enough. I think that's fine. Yeah, I think that's a reasonable amount of water. Anyway, shall we start? I am going to... Every time I do these streams, ironically, I actually talk way too much. So I'm going to try and... Well, who am I kidding? I'm gonna talk a loads. I was like, I'm gonna try and save my voice, and I'm like, who am I kidding? I'm not gonna be able to do that. Please do. And by the way, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask them, and we will do a thing at the end, or write your question down, and we'll do a big Q&A thing at the end. If you have questions that relate to the subject, like what we're talking about, feel free to ask them, and I'll come to them as we are going through, because when we do, I think sometimes when I cut the VOD, there are so many tangents that could have been at the bottom or at the top, and it was like very confusing, and I was like, editing this is going to be a pain. Anyway, how many therapists does it take to change a light bulb? Only one, but the light bulb has to want to change. Aw. Hi, Annie. What a nice thing to come in on. I need my book. Chat, I need my book. My book. I will hydrate for you. I don't know what you teach, though. I teach English. Are you serious? I teach English. Not like the language, but like, you know. Oh, weren't you streaming earlier? I was, Mara. I'm streaming again. Isn't that crazy? I like when people find out that I do 2 streams, because they're like, wait, weren't you just here earlier? And I'm like, yes. I was just here earlier. You're so correct. It's like, oh, I'm seeing double strange. Ever since I've started doing the 2 stream format, it's been really nice, actually. I hope you guys have been enjoying it, because it's actually been pretty good on my mental health, low-key. Anyway, I got to cut chat in half, sorry. You can be down here, chat, okay? Be good, or otherwise I'll eat you. I have 2 English teachers as class teachers. Oh my god, 2 English teachers? Damn. I would love... I used to have 2 English teachers. Also, we have the pointing stick again. The pointing stick. I love this thing. I love the pointing stick. Let me not lie, chat. I'm a big pointing stick enjoyer. I do love it. But yes, let's start. Why don't we actually do the thing that we wanted to do today? Morning, Alcor. How you doing? We're doing an introduction to DMing. Okay, I don't want to make a joke about that stick. Well, you know you can take that stick. Is that a phrase that people know? Probably, yeah. You guys watch enough of British TV, probably. Is one of them out on maternity leave? Always English teachers. I think it's because they're all really sexy. I think because English teachers are all really sexy, they have kids all the time. Anyway, I'm an English teacher. Whom are we DMing? It's not whom, it's who. You're going to learn how to DM today. You, the player. Let's get right into this. Also, this song is making me very depressed. I don't know why. Let's skip it. I'm getting bored. Can I roll for initiative? Of course you can. Guys, everyone needs to roll to see how well you roll for initiative today. Everyone's got to roll for initiative, all right? I'll do it too, because I haven't rolled yet. 7? God, I haven't rolled anything above a 10 in a hot minute, chat. 9, 12. Everyone get your rolls out. Get your rolls out. Get all the rolls out. Get them all out of your system. Did you have fun? But where are your children then? Look, I'm sexy. I didn't say I had children. Also, there's a playlist called Marcher. That looks nice. Da, 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 da. Where have you been? I'm searching all along. Strange will be last in the turn order. Where have you been? I'm searching all along. All right. Who rolled a 1? I rolled a 7. Don't lie. I know what I rolled. Okay. Persona 5 mentioned, what is the sanity for Konu? A fun fact before we start this, I play a lot of Persona music in the store that I work in, and my boss, turned around to me and said, every time you have the speaker on, bear in mind it's my speaker, my speaker with my own money, you always play like loading screen music, and I was like, oh no, like I'm really sorry, like that's really annoying. He's like, no, it's really good actually, like it keeps me in my workflow, and I'm like, oh, that's good. So yes, I have a penchant for loading screen music, apparently. Lucky me, I'm going home soon. Groot's getting bored on an island. I imagine it's quite boring. I rolled disadvantage. Oh no. Anyway, the slides. Let me get out of the way. I put a lot of work into these goddamn slides. Okay, you're gonna see them. Okay. Actually, let's do short hair strangey. Let's do short hair strangey. Yeah, you're gonna see them. I put a lot of work into these slides. You're gonna experience them. I love making slides, by the way. I really, really love elevator music. Yes, you're gonna experience some elevator music today. So, hi, it's me, MissedStrange. Who would have thought? And this is you can see my cursor as well, so we can actually go through this properly. Yippee! You can see my movements. This is by the Miss Edward Strange. My middle name is Edwards, if you did not know that. Nor did I, actually, but the more you know. And then I'm doing a part 1, an introduction to DMing, GMing, whatever you'd like to call it. We're gonna go over the basics of how to get started in your tabletop campaigns. We'll be talking a lot kind of generally about D&D, because I know a lot of you guys play D&D, but these can apply to any tabletop rules. Basically, I'm trying to be as general as possible because I know not every D&D isn't a game for everyone, and I'm not telling you just play D&D because there are so many other tabletops that you can play that this will apply to. Oh yeah, how to run a game, fear and anxiety not included. I have a quick story before we get into this. When I first started DMing, my DM is currently absent. My DM, well, my partner, when I first started DMing, it was in 2018. I've been doing this for a long time. And it was in 2018, and I had a really bad grasp of the rules. And I ran online D&D, I didn't know how Roll20 worked. And my first session, I had an NPC cast a 7th level spell because I didn't understand how spells worked because I only play a monk when I first played D&D. So, if you think it can get any worse than that, I don't think it can. Also, I was so anxious that I fainted before I used to faint a lot. I fainted before the session, like, pretty consistently for about 4 to 5 weeks because it used to give me such stress. Don't do me. Don't be a me. It's not good. I have issues of anxiety that medication has lovingly solved now, but I used to be way worse. You're the opposite of me. I hate being forced to use visual stuff for things that don't necessitate it. If I'm required to make a slideshow by the assignment, it would be 1 slide exactly. 7th level NPC sounds right for level 7 NPC. Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. But I learned, and now I'm here to teach you how to not have fear and anxiety. You will feel fear and anxiety when you start your first D&D game. That's just gonna happen. But I'm trying to make it as easy as possible for you guys. Who be talking? Oh no, that slide is broken. Anyway, ignore that text. No, my slide. I didn't write who I was. That is embarrassing. Hold on. That was my placeholder text. Wow, I'm so professional, guys. Anyway, present. Who am I? I'm an elf. No, I have a proper introduction. I do this every single stream because I know you guys know who I am, but I have to explain who I am every time I do this because it's important for everyone to understand. I am MissedStrange. I am a self-dubbed storyteller Vtuber. I have been DMing since 2018 consistently, and I usually DM I'm actually DMing tomorrow, but I usually DM every Sunday, and I also play D&D pretty frequently. I mean, we play about 1 session a week. I'm playing 3 sessions of D&D this week, which is brilliant. But what I'm trying to say is that I am maybe qualified to tell you about DMing. I may be qualified. I may not be qualified. I found it really interesting to put all my thoughts into this slideshow, apart from obviously who I am. But I found it really interesting to put my thoughts because like some of this stuff came so inherent to me, and now I get to teach you guys. Also, hello, Wolfo and Corey or Corey. I don't want to get your name wrong. Welcome to the stream and welcome to the chat. Not a lot of confidence there, my friend. I am not like. Let me level with you. I am not the best Matt Mercer level DM. Don't get me wrong. But I've been doing this for a long time. And I think I'm at this point where I want to get more people into the hobby. Like, now we have the new rules coming out, and there's, there's going to be, new rules coming out, and then we have new tabletop systems. I really want to teach people how to get into this hobby because I think it's one of my favorite things to do with my friends, and I think why don't I teach you? Especially because I actually have a lot of players in my chat. I find I have a lot of people who play D&D like as players or as PCs. We're gonna differentiate the difference between a PC and a DM soon, but I want to give you the love that us GMs have for the game because I think there's a big divide between GM people being like, oh, the GM is like this crazy like creative person, but you are also that as a player. It only takes a couple of steps to be a GM, in my personal opinion. It doesn't take that much. It looks like a lot of work, trust me, it is, but it's not. My table's basically ignoring the new rules. A ton of money invested in 5 books. I imagine that they are. Also, thank you so much for the follow, Corey. Please say if I'm saying that wrong, because I read that and I think of the Greek god Corey. So I love role-playing as a personal computer. Can I roll for drinking milk? Of course you can. Of course you can. But yes, let's move on to the next slide. We want to go back. Oh yes, okay. So last week, I asked you, if I asked you in a Google form. Thank you so much for everyone for filling that out. I've selected the answers that best fit the vibe for today, and I asked you the question of what qualities make a good DM. So what to you makes a good character, like a good person to head the table per se. I also asked you an extra question, which was what makes a bad DM, and I have two very good answers that I picked up, which I don't know who did these, by the way. It's entirely anonymous. I didn't want people to have to put their names on this for whatever reason. So I made it anonymous. But yes, so what qualities make a good DM is ability to establish a functioning mutual understanding with the table, a sense for where things are going, and skill to preemptively steer them via the narrative. I like that a lot. When I saw that, I was like, that's right. Patience to prep extensively, and decisiveness to step away from prep when necessary. That statement, that sort of the ability to prep, but also the ability to not prep certain things, is something I'm going to talk about, because I think people think that DMs have like these crazy massive worlds, but most of the time we're making things for you to interact with, like as you go along. Does that make sense? And then what could make a bad DM? Any combination of DM versus player, a very age-old statement. Yeah, to fight or any high-stake contests. Yeah, excessive planning, narrative resolution, like extreme railroading. We'll talk about railroading at some point too. A complete inability to exercise DM's authority over the narrative, inability to clearly communicate the tone/direction of the campaign/session, or to stay true to its said direction. That is really good. I really like that statement where it's like, you set a tone for a game and you do not adhere to that tone. We're going to talk about tone as well at some point. This is useful when I possibly start D&D with my friends. Yes, of course. I keep this core. It will get downloaded and I will keep it in the archives forever as well. So yes. And yeah, even this answer was very short, but it's like, yeah, adaptability, humor, being quick on their feet. D&D is a silly game. I don't care how grimdark your campaign is. The D&D is silly. And then bad DMs like railroading, removing player agency. Player agency is a big one, guys. Player agency we'll talk about again as well. Favoritism or discrimination. Yeah, like basically, if you think as a DM that you are the only person running the game, you do not understand what DMing is. Just like, I want this stream to be useful to people who have DM'd and need help or would like some outward advice, but also to players who think that, you know, DMs are like, you know, the be-all end-all of the table. The DM runs the game, is a statement you hear a lot of people say, and I don't believe that at all, because if you don't have... It's like saying that the football referee runs the game. Does it make sense? The football ref doesn't run the game, but they act as an arbiter of the game. The players matter as well. Like, why did I do a football analogy? I don't even know anything about football. I mean, does it makes sense in my mind. If you know more about football than I do, then please feel free to correct me, but that's what I've always assumed. Why did I do a football analogy? I don't know. Anyway, sippy water time. We don't know football either. Ah, yes. Go sports. Why did I do... I'm like in shock. Like, why did I do that? Hello, Miss Teacher Strange. Hello, Keel. We have some more to get into for this. But yes, whoever gave these two answers, by the way, there were some more. I wanted to sift for like the best ones for the topic of the stream. Thank you all for giving your answers. I really did appreciate reading all of them. These two are the best for what we're talking about, and whoever did these two answers, you get extra credit. I don't know what that means in the grand scheme of things, but just know that you are very integral to my thought process for making this stream. So, what's the plan? What's the thing? What's that? Bottom one is yours? Is it actually cute? Hold on. Oh, me, what the hell? Why is there a gnome in my house? Anyway, the agenda today. So, we are going to try and learn an introduction to DMing, what you need to know, and what it takes to be one. So, we're going to talk about the role, the expectations, and the responsibilities you have, having fun. I promise D&D can be fun, and where to begin. Because I can tell you everything about game mastering. I could tell you so much, but if everyone needs like a jumping off point, right? And that's the most important thing. Like, if you could learn all this stuff, but never use it, and I want you to use it. I know a lot of you play online D&D, so like, this is where you can do it, right? And also we're gonna do some. If I have some time, we're gonna do some myth busting. There are certain phrases that I absolutely hate. When it comes to tabletop, I absolutely hate them. So I thought, I hate all these two concepts. Let's put them in a slide and then just like talk about how much I hate. Because there's certain things that or misconceptions people get about this role that make me angry when I hear people say them. And also, yes, this is a beginner class. This is a brief overview. This is not going to be like you're not going to be graded. It's not like a test. And I do plan to do more specific classes on this in the future. Especially about some of the extra parts of this. Like, there are some specific things that are going to come up that I don't have time to go over fully in depth, but I can introduce you to the idea, and then we can do a full deep dive if you need the extra clarification. Okay? Okay? Does that make sense? I will hold your hand through this. Do not feel that you are alone. Because you are not. I will hold your hand and we will figure it out. Also, where's this timer here? Timer. All good. Perfect. So, if you are entirely new to tabletop, let me introduce something to you. So there are two things that are required to play most tabletop games, most TTRPGs, or just RPGs. We're going to call them RPGs because if I say TTRPG every 10 seconds, I'm going to explode. You have the PCs, or the player characters. These people are the majority of the group, and they control one character, maybe even two, like a couple of characters, right? They are the often touted as the protagonists, the authors, I like to say authors, creators of their own stories. They choose everything about their character. So to the way their character acts, to the way they sound, to the way they interact with the world. And yeah, this role includes creating and acting out their character, making decisions about their character, and managing all the stats. They're like character sheets. We've done character sheets before. And most importantly, they address the story with action. So they do their own actions, but they act. That's what creates the story. And even in any type of media, like even shows that you watch, everything a character does is an action in response to some sort of problem that has come up. And now for the Dungeon Masters, which is my big body is blocking. For Dungeon Masters, they are someone who takes the mantle of controlling the other elements of the game. So they control the rules, the arbitration of those rules. They narrate what your character does. So like, your character stabs X, and then the DM in turn goes, okay, this is what happens when your character stabs X, basically. Often it's said they run the game, they arbiter the world, they're keeper and creator of the rules in the world. This role includes creating and controlling NPCs/forces, challenging the PCs, prepping material, understanding and applying the rules, creating or steering the narrative. Something that I think is very important, I'm going to get right up in here in your face and say it, because I think it's very important. The DM and the players are wow, sorry, I need to stop. The DM and the PCs are all players in the game. They just have different roles to each other, and they're not evenly weighted roles. Being a DM is significantly more work than being a player, if you make it be more work than being a player. I have known people who run tabletop, to actually find enjoyment out of it, because they find it more constraining to play one character. I definitely have that, where I like to make all my little characters. I haven't played a lot of characters in D&D because I much prefer to DM. But you are both playing the game. You're both, playing the game. Everything is give or take. Your players do something, you make something. You to help them or to challenge them. You challenge the players with a monster encounter, they fight the monster. Like, it's a back and forth, it's a symbiotic, my favourite word to say, symbiotic relationship. They play together, not against each other. That's an important distinction. Yes, that is very true. They play against each other, like together, and technically you're against each other. Basically, as a DM, you go, rah, there's a bad guy, and the players go, what the hell? Let's stab him. And then they stab him. And you go, nice job, guys. You get some loot for stabbing him. That's it. Like, it's never about that DM versus player mentality. That is not something that is that is a more recent phenomenon where it's like, oh, the DM is like, my DM is so mean. It's like, your DM isn't mean. Your DMing is challenging you. Maybe a bit too much sometimes. Nice job, guys. You did the murder. Exactly. Well done, chat. You did the murder. You did the murder. Well done. You win 10 blorbows. Just make sure to teach new players or stab everything. Yes, of course. that can be a thing at the table anyways. It's an expectation where it's like, look, I make these bad guys for you or these good guys for you. Please try and figure out if they're bad guys or good guys. Yep, 10 blorbo. That's so many blorbo. Can I convince you to make it 11 blorbo? No. Yes, here is a really good thing from a book I read. Okay, sorry, I've been reading a book recently, and I showed this in the server the other day, and I really want to share it with you guys as well. Hello, I'm gonna go down here so you can read it. Don't get any weird thoughts. Anyway, let me read it aloud for you. MissedStrange ASMR. Neither leader or follower. A lot of language around GMing implies that it is a leadership role. It is said that you are running the game, or many times there are references to your authority at the table. It's best to toss aside hierarchical thinking when comparing the GM and PC roles. Sometimes you'll lead, sometimes you'll follow. This book's advice centers around the GM's role as a collaborator because that makes the game stronger. Like, you're not the leader. You do have authority at the table. That's another thing he gets into. You do have authority at the table as a, someone who is at a higher role or maybe a different role, but you are not always running. You're not always, I do this. Your players need to do that as well. Your players will go, I will go to my players, you are here, what do you do? And that is, sometimes I just, my favorite thing in D&D is to watch my players deal with stuff that sometimes it's stuff that they've created, their own sort of self-created problem. But it's important to know, like, sometimes you're just watching and sometimes you're leading. It's a you can do both, basically. You're not the sole runner of the game or the author of the game. A good argument that gets thrown out a lot is, oh, the GM makes the story, and I'm like, nuh-uh. The GM makes the challenges that are in the story. The players make the story with you. Like, you can say, this is going to happen at this point in the game, but you never can account for the way your players are going to react to that. So, like, maybe I have a bad guy. I'm like, this bad guy gets revealed at this point. And maybe my players just don't care about that bad guy. That's fine. That's their response. That can be because I haven't introduced them properly, or I haven't made them relation to the game, or sometimes it can just be luck. It's your job to, behind the table, figure out what you can do next to challenge people. Also, hello Lilith, I can hear you munching on your chips. The DM makes the world and the people in it. The story comes from the interactions with the players. Yes, exactly, Wolf. Damn, didn't know you could read. I can't read. What is a D&D? What is a man? But I digress. Yes, there is so this is kind of a look more at the role of what a dungeon master is. I gotta move to the side because I'm in the way. I'm always in the way. I am going to set you upon a path, and these are things that 5 things that you should remember at the table when you are beginning your journey of D&D. These are 5 things that I think are the most important to understand when you're playing this game, which is there are some pillars. There are some pillars to the game. She's trying to run out the door. Stop! You know to be alive. So these are things that you do differently from the players. These are the PCs, which is arbitration, preparation, acting on agency, table expectations, and more importantly, having fun. Because if you're not having fun, there is no point in playing this game. And having fun can be as simple as finding a setting that works for you, or finding a campaign, or a tabletop. It's all about having fun at the end of the day. This is a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun in the end. It's like learning a new game. It's like when you load up, like, Sekiro for the first time. I don't know, I never played it. But you load up Sekiro and you're like, wow, this is so difficult. Who would want to play this? And then you keep playing, you keep trying, you keep learning. You're going to be really bad at everything before you're really good. That is how the best people, like, are at everything. If you give up, if you give up, you have to ask yourself why. Why did you stop DMing? Like, was it a time thing? Was it a creativity thing? And always just be introspective about stuff like this. Well, thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. Pillar, I barely know her. So, remember APAF. Arbitration, preparation, acting on agency, or just agency, table expectations, and having fun. What if I'm really good at being bad? No, I stopped DMing because my improv skills are trash. You can work on improv skills. I can teach you how to work on improv skills, actually. Maybe I'll make that a whole stream about improv. I've always lost the table. Hard to DM that way. Very hard to DM that way, but not impossible. Nothing is impossible. Teach me your ways. Because I must say, another thing about who I am, I'm a little drama kid. Obviously, I love to present and yap, so it makes me a very, yappy DM. Not a good DM, a yappy DM. I like to write things that are not necessary to my campaign, but, like, are interesting to me, for example. Like, my players don't need to know the whole backstory of this NPC, but I have a lot of fun writing it, and I can keep that to myself. These pillars are fundamental, albeit not all-encompassing, part of the game, and part of your role as a DM. Yes, and how important these pillars are to you will vary based on the game system and what your group wants from the game. Like, let me give you an example of something, right? Some DMs don't necessarily do what I would call in-depth prep. In-depth prep can be literally anything, but they might not spend even an hour prepping their game, right? But they still all play D&D and they all still enjoy that game. That is a valid way to play D&D. So preparation, for example, isn't an important pillar in that campaign. Or, for example, you're playing a, quite a fast and loose homebrew system, and sometimes you just ignore some of the rules, right? Because some of the rules are just dumb. That is, you're not arbitrating all the time. So you're not always being like, let me think about this ruling or this thing all the time. That's a table that has less emphasis on it. I think one of these three, acting on agency, table expectations, and having fun. Having fun is fundamental. You have to have fun to play D&D. If you're not having fun, you should not play the game. Because if you're not having fun, it is a chore. Nothing should ever feel like a chore in this space, in this hobby. You should never feel like you're forcing yourself to DM for the sake of doing it once. Same with, like, table expectations. That is a thing that should be established. Like, some people don't care if they play a campaign that's fantasy and you go into the campaign and suddenly there are guns. Some people do not care about that. But some people will. Both interpretations of the game are valid. Acting on agency is very important. That is a fundament. That one comes kind of inherently. If it doesn't come inherently, you are now a D&D horror story. You are now a D&D horror story if you are not letting your players do things. How many horror stories do you guys know where it's like, very vaguely, where it's like, my DM did XYZ and I didn't want XYZ to happen? Or like, I didn't get to choose or roll or do anything. Like, that is the most fundamental D&D horror story. It's why reading them is so boring to me, because it's always just like, my DM did this creepy thing, and I don't like the game. And I'm like, that's because they are not appreciating your agency. That's literally it. Having fun is more of a consequence than an actual variable. I'd say it can be both. I think having fun is something you do. Like, you in terms of, you have to consciously make yourself have fun in something. Like, I have played in people's D&D games where they are doing all of this other stuff, right? But they are only doing it because they like the validation of doing these other things and not because they're actually enjoying it. And I can tell when you're not enjoying it. I can tell. And I'm like, I might not enjoy it because I know you're not enjoying it. Again, these are things that I think having fun is within your control. Like, to do as a person. I disagree. Painting the minis a chore. Off topic, sorry. Painting minis is are you having fun? But yeah, that's kind of the way I think about it. Again, I'm not like the be-all end-all of Dungeons and Dragons or tabletop, but the way I see it, it's like, you make a conscious choice. Like, I used to, I'll be honest, I used to prep a game pretty extensively that I wasn't enjoying. Like, I used to prep a lot for a game, and I used to love, like, the campaign, and I love the players still, but I was not having fun. And the reason I wasn't having fun is because of a variety of reasons. It was because of my IRL, it was because, I was running 3 campaigns at the time, and I clearly was experiencing DM burnout. Like, that was just what happened. And I had to make the decision to have fun in my tabletop group by, unfortunately, cutting that campaign short. That didn't make me feel nice, but it meant that my other games were better for that. And my love of DMing was still there. And I still took a break. I took a break from playing 3 campaigns. Like, don't do that, by the way. Don't do what I did. Unless you have infinite time and money, feel free. But it's all about prioritizing yourself. Like, if you start a D&D campaign, you get like 5 sessions in, and you go to your table, we should change something because I don't really like this way this works. I'm sure your friends aren't going to lynch you. If they are your friends, they're not going to lynch you. Oh yes, I would love to hear D&D horror stories at the end of this. I will not, I'll be so honest, I will not tell you any of my D&D horror stories. Just putting that out there. I don't think it's fair, and also because I have a platform, I don't think it's a nice thing for me to do. But I've had them. I have had some absolute horror stories as a DM and as a player. Don't do 3 campaigns, Mara, who struggles to even do art. Okay. Chad Mara not doing 3 campaigns. Start small, I'd say. Yes, let's talk about the pillars a bit more in depth, why don't we? So, arbitration and preparation. I'm going to move myself to cover the other one while I talk about this one. I don't need to pre-read anything. So, arbitration. So, arbitration is, fundamentally, when GMing was first a thing, history lesson with Strange, it was because, you know, tabletop was more about wargaming. At a certain point, tabletop was more about numbers and wargaming. If you look at any of the old editions of D&D, right, it was born out of that genre. Of like, anyone who plays Warhammer here knows, like, oh, my guys will attack your guys, and you're gonna have a situation where it's like, nuh-uh, you can't attack my guys. Like, you can't attack my guys, like, they can't see each other, right? So they used to have a neutral party, somebody who knew the rules, but didn't participate, but was involved in the game. They were involved with the way the game played out. So they needed, like, a neutral force to concede on rulings. So that's what arbitration is, right? You look at the rules, you use your knowledge of the rules to apply solutions to problems. There are so many things even in the DMG, right, that I read, and then a thing I see on D&D a lot, right? Or like D&D ideas and stuff, or like TikToks, right? Where it's like, this is how you can make this crazy thing, and it's all rules as written and blah blah blah, right? It's like, yes, you can do that in a vacuum, right? But if you come into my D&D game and go, I'm gonna make a fucking bag of holding nuke, I might have some choice words for you. Or I might not allow it. Or I might allow it if you do certain things. Like, that is arbitration. Ultimately, it's the way you interpret rules. There is one rule in Spelljammer, which is like, you can't cast fire spells, or fire can't spread in space. And I think that's stupid. I know there's a reason, right? But I think that's dumb. I'm already in space. I'm already a goo man. I can already cast fireball. You're telling me the fire can't spread? It's such a dumb rule. I remember reading it and going, I ain't putting that in my Spelljammer game. So like, it's like you need to use your knowledge, like, to apply situations. And sometimes you do this on the fly, right? Like, even the rule I just talked about, I read that book, being a DM who wanted to run a space game, I read that book and I went, I ain't doing that. That was on the fly. Like, I just said, nope, I'm ignoring that rule. I don't like him. Sometimes, in campaigns, you have to do that too. You have to go, oh, my player does something that I would have never thought of. And I'm like, that's cool. Yeah, let's do that. Like, let's do that, and I need you to do this. That comes with improv. We're going to do a separate stream about improv, because Keel says he wants to look at it. But, improv is a whole thing where it's like, it's an acting school thing, and I'll teach you the way that I learned how to do it. It requires quick thinking, and sometimes I've known DMs who struggle with improv, who actually will take time to think about it, or they'll ask everyone at the table, or they'll ask someone else, right? Improv isn't necessarily being the one person in the group who improvs, or looks up rules, right? Yes, it can't spread through space, but can spread via content. Yes, rules is written. It's very, very silly, but not really silly, but it's intriguing. And yeah, so arbitration, all it is you use your knowledge of the game and its rules to apply solutions to problems. Sometimes improv, very pain, but it's gonna happen. That is one of your things you gotta do. Another thing is preparation. Preparation is preparing elements of the game that your players... I typed with twice. I'm such an idiot. You prepare elements of the game that your players are going to interact with. The reason I specify interacting with is because there is a kind of an unspoken thing in D&D where it's like, oh, my DM made this big map and they wrote this down and there's all these places to go. And I'm like, girl, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think your DM has written more than like 20 pages on one location. Sometimes you are going to write as needed. You will write as needed, especially when you're first starting out the game. You prep things like monsters or settings or NPCs or towns or villages. Another thing I really, really want to go over is how to prep all these elements, right? More importantly, prep is a skill that gets better with time. I prepped for 6 hours, probably even longer, for my first session of D&D, and I am an idiot for doing that because the session wasn't even 6 hours and all they did was walk through a forest and fight some things. Yes, Armia, you're already on my... Armia, we're psychically linked because I literally was about to say this after this section. Is it possible to go through a campaign and not have anything written but everything by ear? You could. I'm telling you right now, you could do that. For example, my DM, V, even, sometimes he doesn't write stuff for campaigns, right? He doesn't write stuff for campaigns. But he knows it. Do you know how he knows it? One, he knows all the rules. He knows how to arbitrate. And he preps it in his head. Some people can do that. Some people can prep in their head. It's crazy. Me? Never. I am a big writer. We all know this. I write everything down, or I write a set thing of things down, or I'm like, okay, the player's going to counter this monster. This is stat before the monster. It's going to go like this. Yeah. No, stop looking at my typo. Please. I can't do it. I can't take it. But yeah, like, it includes things that your player's going to interact with. And again, it's something that gets better with time. And as Armia has said, you can do a one-shot. It's a low investment thing to do. You can prep a town. I've ran one-shots that were set entirely in one location with a bunch of NPCs, like I think 10 NPCs. Zoom in on typo. Stop! Leave me alone! I don't want to zoom in on my typo. Stop! Go away! Leave me alone! Make it a poster? Yeah, sure. I've done a one-shot with Hunter that was completely in a local Greg's. Perfect. That sounds great. Yeah, you make your world as big as you want. You can have a whole campaign set in a village or like a vast, massive world, right? Don't prep what you don't need. Hold on. Let me get up close and personal and say it. Don't prep what you don't need. Do you need to know, like, all of the kings that have ever existed in the monarchy? Maybe. Is it relevant? Are your players gonna care? That depends on your table. I don't know. Maybe they do. Like, I know my players don't. By the way, the typo is a perfect example of what always happens in D&D. Your players will grab on something you don't expect and run with it. Yeah, you guys have all grabbed onto my typo, okay? And I'm running with it, okay? It's what makes the improv, like, so useful to some people, right? I will write an award-winning series spanning 25 books just for the lore. No, don't! Don't! My players? Probably not. Do I care? Very much so. If you care, you can do that as a side project. I love... Okay. my party lovingly refers, I write a lot of fan fiction, I guess, for my campaign, which is things that like the NPCs have experienced or go through, but are not relevant to the players, right? They're all headcanon until proven true, but right? Like, that's not relevant on my game, but sometimes it is. There's an NPC who, like, you know, it can be relevant to the way that they're built, right? It might inform choices, but it's not prep. It's not in the D&D sense, in my opinion, in my humby opinion. Next slide, Strange. Ah, yes. Acting on agency and table expectations. Now, you can call this one agency instead, because agency is basically anything that your players want to do or things they do already. So, RPGs are interactive and creatively driven by nature. PCs are integral to your game. If you think that your story is more important than what your players are doing, you should write a book. Like, you should not be playing D&D. Or you should be playing a different tabletop system. Or, like, just write a book. Like, honestly, if you think your story is more important, or NPCs are more important, or your creations are more important than your player characters, you are not playing a game with them. You're not interacting with them. You're not helping each other out. You must make choices that enable their interactions. If your player knocks down a door, there might not be a consequence for it. The consequence is the door is broken. How you choose to spin that in the table is up to you entirely. So, let's say they're doing a stealth mission and they break a door and it's broken. People are going to spot them now. You enable that interaction by making it sort of grounded in the world, for example. Or a player makes a character who is a samurai, for example. I have a samurai character, so it's the first thing I can think of. A player has a character who's a samurai and interacts with like samurai codes and ethics, right? So you make other NPCs around their backstory who are also samurais. So they fit in that world and make sense in that world, for example. Obviously, if you set an expectation for a game, let's say I want to play a samurai in a space game, it might not be doable, but there's definitely ways you can twist it and turn it to make it work. And that's what you do. You work with your players. I've had players who have given me character ideas for a campaign, and I kind of very politely go, that's not going to work for this game. Is there a way we can make that character work for this game? Or is there something else that we can come up with? It's really important you don't exist outside the bubble from your players. You are not the big bad DM who is going to make the big bad monster. It's funny to think that, right? But you're not the big bad DM who's going to make a big bad monster. You are a guy who has got a book and a little cardboard screen. Like, you look a bit silly if you think that you are separate from the players. It's why I hate DM screens. Sorry, I know DM screens are useful for IRL D&D. I've used them for IRL D&D. But I'm much more of like a roll in the open DM. I like doing that. So it's like, and I play online, which means I've got to prep a little bit more and for that. But it's fun to me. That's what fun is. Yeah. Look, what a great analogy by me. You provide the stage, but not the stage play. You narrate their actions and validate their contributions with either rules or other elements. Yeah, like the door thing, right? You ask yourself questions and come up with answers. Your answers and the player's answers is what creates the story. Also, thank you for the hydrate. I really need it. That's what agency means. Like, that's why I didn't want to make it just agency. It's acting upon agency. This is also an important thing for players. Like, you act on the agency of each other. You are your little relationship. You're like Venom. You're like Eddie and Venom. You couldn't exist without each other because you're gay and you're kissing. It's to hide the stick to bonk the bar. Okay, I see. Maybe I get it. Maybe I get it. Anyway, the DM screen is ready to hide you using a calculator for 10 minus 7. Why do you have to call me out like that? It's funny because it's probably true. I do have a scientific calculator that sits on my desk when I do D&D, and I feel so bad for it because its job is to do science, but I just do, what is 8 minus 3? And it's like, mother, please put me out of my misery. And I'm like, no, you must find out the answers. There are 2 wolves inside of you, and they are viciously making out. What's 9 plus 10? 20... 21? 21? You stupid. Table expectations. Yay! Hold on, we got a yay for table expectations. Table expectations. The table space. This is quite a long thing, okay? This is quite a long section. I'm gonna definitely do a whole stream about table expectations because I honestly could, maybe not like as long as this one, but I could talk about this for a very long time. It's very important to me. The table space and expectations should be clear and comfy to everyone who plays at it. Naturally, in D&D, there are going to be things that cause discomfort. Like, there are some tables that I know where blood is not a thing that they discuss, for example. Like, you kill the enemies, right, and they're dead, but there's no blood or gore, right? Or there are tables where, on the opposite end, things like sex are a thing that people want to do at the table, like, or sexual elements are a thing they want to do at the table. And everyone has been taught and is comfortable with that. You know, as we say in the industry, different strokes for different folks, right? As long as you are all on the same table and you're not discomforted by that, that's fine. It's gonna happen at some point. Any discomfort that is detrimental to your health of your players is not good. See any D&D horror story. On the table? You know what I meant! You know what I meant! you know what I meant! Like, I was gonna talk about mine, but I can't actually talk about that because I don't actually think I'm comfy. But there are certain things that I don't like at a table that I cannot stand as a player, and especially if you're going to encounter themes that are kind of dark, I'd say. Like, it's good to preempt people. Is this table and the rest still in the room with us? Stop talking about the table, please. But like, for example, like when I ran Casa Strad, some of my players don't care about this, but I made a big long thing which was like, there's gonna be blood in this game, there's gonna be child murder in this game, there's gonna be this, it's gonna be this. Are you guys comfortable with this? And you know, all of them laid out what they were comfortable with and not comfortable with, and I chose as a DM to not include those elements, or to include those elements with warnings when they were going to happen. And another thing about expectations is, if you preface D&D to me, a game to me, by saying we're gonna be sci-fi, like cyberpunk characters, and we're gonna have guns and stuff, and I come into the game and we're all starting like a hobbit village, I'm gonna be kind of confused. That's another thing you have to do, right? You should tell your players what they are getting into to see if they enjoy it. Stop talking about the table! Stop talking about the table! I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you. I'm sick of this. Stop talking about the table. I was gonna say mama don't like. I think that's kind of an odd thing to say. Is that odd? Am I gonna get called into a meeting about this? I'm gonna get dismissed. I'm a badge teacher. You can't stop table consensuation. You wouldn't steal a table. You wouldn't have sex on a table. Do you know what ad I'm talking about? This is a cyberpunk world, but your characters can't afford any futuristic tech. It's a good expectation. This is a tabletop stream. It is a tabletop stream. The top is not in the room with us, but, you know. Anyway. Also, it's a table bottom. Stop! I should say as well, with table expectations, this is not a thing that's entirely the Dungeon Master's, responsibility. If you know somebody is uncomfortable with something, it's probably best to say, as a player to another player, even if it's not in front of somebody's face, you can turn around and go, hey, this player doesn't like when you do this, let's stop doing it. But the DM does have an air of authority, so it's better if it comes from their mouth most of the time. They can narrate safety and can make an effort to diffuse tension. For example, if you don't have any gore in your campaign, and one of the players starts describing in horrific detail what, you know, the way they kill something, you as a DM should probably go, hey, take them aside and go, hey, maybe let's not, because this is not a game that is for gore. I appreciate that you want to share that with the table, but you shouldn't. Like, that kind of idea. Table bottom RPG, so what, the game that you guys will play? Next one, having fun. Oh god, back. I like the little pop up of Strange. She's like, having fun, the core of the game. Yay! If you have not having fun, you shouldn't be playing. As we said earlier, we've touched on this quite a lot, I'd say. But this comes with running the game your table enjoys, such as yourself as well. This is done in a variety of ways: fun encounters, plot, twists, etc. Fun? Wait, we can have fun? It's required. You have to have fun. Call this tabletop stuff. You have to have fun. When your game is fun, the quote-unquote stress of making it will become invisible. Trust me, to some people, having responsibility at the table is the most fun thing that could happen. The beatings will continue until the fun improves. Yes, you will have fun. And also, fun is subjective. We've talked about this, right? Everyone's got different games they want to play, right? And sometimes you will join groups that don't play D&D in the way you enjoy it. You, as a player, have to make a conscious decision to stop playing that game. This is the biggest advice I want to give anybody, even if you're a player, a casual player, whatever, right? I absolutely hate it when people come up to me and they go, I am playing this character, I really enjoy playing this character, but I do not like this campaign. My response is always, leave. Get out. Get out of the game. Immediately. Right? Because it's so... If you're not having fun, why are you torturing yourself for like 4 to 3 hours every week for the fun of playing your character? Is that it? When everything else is a chore, I'd say, don't do that. Please don't do that. I'm telling you, let me be a little voice in your head that tells you, don't do that. Do you hate the DM and the players of that table? No. You just don't play D&D the same way as them, and that is fine. The safe word is table. Yeah, sure. I hate this. I say one thing, I misspeak one time. And everyone's important at the table. No one is any less important than anyone. The Dungeon Master is not more important without the players. If the DM needs to take a break from DMing, it's not the end of the world. And maybe it is an opportunity for you to take up Dungeon Mastering yourself. Also, why is it fun? Why is tabletop fun? Why is DMing fun? I have a couple of reasons. They're going to be different depending on your game, right? But here's what I think. You get to do so much shit that the players don't get to do. There is so many things that you can do that they can't do. They can't make monsters. They can't write about 10 million blorbos. They can't make nations. They can maybe help you make nations or settlements and ideas, but that's not their job. Their job is to play their character. And maybe to help out. You have unlimited creative freedom. If you want to run your game like an RPG and, you know, have all these cool intrinsic monsters, you can. You have to build them, but you can do that. My favorite thing of D&D is making monsters. I love making monsters. I do it on stream. I love making monsters. And the way I make monsters is the way that I enjoy playing RPGs. Like, mechanics in RPGs and translating them to tabletop to make my combat encounters more interesting, for example. And that's another thing. Bringing things to life. You get to choose how big or how small something is. You get to choose what your villains are like. You get to choose what your NPCs are like. You get to choose where they go or where they need to go to a location, right? My players are doing travel at the moment, right? And I get to choose all the little locations they go to, or they get to choose, you know, I give them information, they get to interact with that information. I tell them things, like, that's enjoyable to me. And, most importantly, a thing I see Dungeon Masters say a lot is, I don't like playing it because I don't like to play NPCs. Or I have so many ideas for PCs, but not NPCs. You can do that. There is obviously a line you have to stay at when making an NPC, but you can make deep NPCs. The best NPCs are NPCs that are not expected to join the party, I find. Or not typical. Like, there are some really memorable NPCs from my campaigns that I had no intention of them being so important, but my players found importance in them because, again, as we go back to the other slide, agency. I let them have the agency of interacting. Not bad. Strange loves tables. You just talk about them. If y'all don't stop, I'm going to throw a table at you. Like, there are so many ways that you can enjoy this great game. Like, there are so many ways that this campaign. Also, hello over on YouTube. Sorry, I had to say hello to you guys. But hello. I just love this game. Are we talking tabletops? Yes, we are. We've just done quite a long. We're getting towards the end now, which is nice. But long stream about tabletops. Specifically DMing. Yes, good day, Mr. James. Good game. Good day to you also. Oh my god! Wait, did we hit? Huh? What did we hit a follower goal? Am I blind? You hit follower goal? Did I actually? Here before 1K followers. Next stream is about table bottoms. Yes. Thank you so much for 1K. Oh my god. Not 1K, nearly 1K. We're only 40 off. Oh. So scared. What am I gonna do when I hit 1K? I don't know. It's getting closer and closer, and I'm getting scared. Ah no! Now I'm flustered. I was so confident before this, and now I'm flustered. Can't say, but hope stream goes well. I hope stream goes well too. Thank you so much, Void. I appreciate it. There will always be the VOD, and if not the VOD, there will always be YouTube. I know nothing about DM. I only played like 2 games with 2 different DMs, and one was very sweet and the other one was weird. Well, we're going to talk a bit about your guys' horror stories. Like I said, I don't want to talk about my horror stories, because I don't think it's fair to talk about mine. Anyway, the age-old question. How do I get started? Read the books, read the books, read the books. I'm gonna threaten you again. Read the books. You have to read the books. I'm not saying you have to, you know, become the expert reader man who knows everything. It's a big book. It's a lot of rules. You're gonna forget some. I forget rules. I forgot what the condition blinded does the other day. Blinded! What do you think the blinded condition does, guys? What do you think it does?
I don't think it's funny.
I think it's quite funny that I forgot what that was. But yes, reading the books is so important. There's the DMG. You need to read what ever book is relevant. So I put the DMG on here, but there could be other books that are relevant to you, right? That, you know, other tabletop books, right? It's the most important book. As someone with ADHD, I know it can be difficult to read, to play a game, but trust me, it helps. It does help. Thank you, Axel. It does help. If you start by reading the campaigns, and do you know what, guys? If you really want me to do this, okay, I will read the book for you. I'll put it on Patreon. I will read the whole DMG for you. I will audiobook the DMG for you. I will hold your hand. Is that so bad? It's free ASMR. Sold. Oh yeah, you still have there's a little HTML macro page. Yeah, I remember. I still have that. ASMR style, yes. You want me to read the book to you? Okay, I guess that's a win for Patreon. I guess we'll do that. Yes, if you want to be a good arbiter, read the PHP. Yeah, the PHP and the DMG, you can read either. And you can skim read. You can skim read. There are some sections, you know, I'm gonna get a DMG out right now, right? DMG is right here. Ugh, chunky book, right? Thick book. Smells like, it's second hand, this DMG actually. Cost me 20 quid. Quite chuffed. Oh my god, there are bookmarks in here from years ago. I love that. You don't need to read all of this, man. Do you need to read siege equipment? No, probably not. If there's no sieges in your game. Make sure to make purchase links for us elsewhere for those who don't touch Patreon. Oh, of course. I'll probably put, I'm thinking about using, Ko-fi, as well. So, like, maybe Ko-fi will use for that. Ko-fi, my beloved. I know, I off tangent, I prefer the, look of Patreon, but I know that there's some other things about, you know, thingy. Yeah, my DM uses siege weapons. Yeah, but like, let's say I'm running like a Hobbit game. I don't really think I'm gonna need siege weapons. Like, as I say on every stream, take what is relevant to you and bin the rest. Like, if you don't need it, don't read it. Like, do you need to, you know, do you need to do like, for example, there are some D&D games, you don't need madness. Why am I going to have madness in my D&D game? You don't need it. Gotta know how far a hobbit can fly by catapult. Be sure to add jingling keys to the lower attention span features. Oh yes, of course. It'd be like, jingle, 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 jangle. Yeah, I can read the DMG. Why not? That sounds fun. I can do that after work. Come back, I read you the DMG. It's not that long. It's only 300 pages. That's pretty short, actually. Sorry, that's short to me. Record the keys jingling separately so there's a version. The ADHD version and the non-ADHD version. I should say, though, just as a heads up, if you're interested in learning from me, I guess, when I'm not streaming. Again, Patreon. Patreon is just extra strange content. Anything extra or cut down or simplified, it's all there. It's all free. It's just an alternative to Twitch. And I plan to do some posting on Ko-fi as well. I don't think I have a Ko-fi currently. I might have to invest in a Ko-fi, which will take some time. But if not, I am always on Discord. Ask me things there. I do work a full-time job, so I might not get to it immediately, but having it in one spot, we have loads of different channels in that Discord. We've got tabletop, we've got writing, we've got books. I'm the big yapper. You'll find me in there most times. And, you know, I don't mind being added. If I have 20 pings, I'm gonna maybe kill you. But that's mostly where I'm at, basically. And any updates always go to the Discord first. Discord always gets everything first before anyone else. I'm actually at my full-time job right now. Too much work. No! Oh, I supposed to reply to my boss. Oh, oof. The first one. Anyway, read the books. It's the most important book. It feels like homework, but it's important. It's important homework. It's very, very important.
Join the Discord where you can have thought-filled conversations, like how Deathclaw girls are hot.
Oh no, not this. We're nearly at the end, guys. We can talk about how hot Deathclaw girls are in a second. But you can skim, but you should learn something. Before you dive into the game, learn one thing. And it's good to have the rules on hand as well when you're first starting out, so that you can check things. If, you know, things are wrong, you can check them with your table. It's absolutely fine. And also how to get started. Oh, yes, sorry, I forgot to mention, there is a book. This is not sponsored, by the way. I just really like this book, and I think you should all read it. This book, The Ultimate RPG Game Master's Guide, by James D'Amato. I probably butchered your name, I'm so sorry. This book is peak. I read, in preparation for this stream, I read this book. I own nearly all his books, actually.
And or talk about how much Erebus is a failure who deserves to be hit again.
Not Erebus. I saw you guys talk about Erebus in the server. But yes, this book is the most important book you could read if you want to start game mastering. It's decently long. It's a pretty chunky book. I think it's like... Hold on, I got it right. I actually have it right here in my hand. Oh my god, I don't even know. How do I read? Where have you been? Searching all along. 250 pages. Normal size font, so that would take an average person about a month to get through. Average person. I've read this in a week. So it is my job to read, so, you know. But, I read the whole book. It's so good. If you want to start and you want some advice from somebody who's done actual plays and stuff, James does such good books. Like I said, I think I only don't have 2 of his books. All these books are so good. Pick yourself up a copy. It applies to almost any game as well. So if you want to try running World of Feast that we looked at the other day, or you want to try running Call of Cthulhu, this applies. Anyway, sorry, I just thought I mentioned that before we moved on. Reading is for nerds. Writes 200-page rulebook to avoid reading a rulebook. But most importantly, dive in. Find a group. You can post a little online listing with your friend, or, you know, within your friend group. 3 to 4 max, I'd say, for your first game. With friends, people you trust, people you can feel a bit vulnerable around. Because definitely D&D will make you feel like an idiot sometimes, and that's fine. You're allowed to be a little bit of an idiot. You can be a daily idiot, okay? Even if you don't feel confident, diving in with your friends is the best way to learn. You're not going to be Matt Mercer. You're not going to be a Dimension 20. You're not going to be insert a crazy DM standard here, but you are going to run your first game, and you are going to make mistakes. You're going to learn things as you go. And again, if you like your campaign a lot, play it again. Play another game, try another system. See what doesn't work. Oh, I don't really like running for fantasy. I should run a sci-fi game. Or, you know, you should try something. As I say all the time, the first step to being good at something is to be bad at it first. If you are... My first session was an absolute train wreck. I was so nervous. But I tried. And I'm very proud that when years ago when I used to suffer with like really bad anxiety, I chose to try Dungeons and Dragons. Because it makes me feel happy. I've had a lot of fun doing it. I've had challenges. Again, I've had to cancel games, change things up, change my DMing style, change how frequently I played, or the time I played, or the day I played. But that's just being a person. Things change. I have a full-time job now. I look after the pebs all the time. You guys, right? Yeah, role-playing is super embarrassing, isn't it? When you first start role-playing, I used to do online text role-play, and even role-playing in D&D was embarrassing for me, because I was like, I'm not a 7-foot tree lady. How do I role-play a 7-foot tree lady? But it's the mistakes that make your game. When I first did a session, we did sessions after school waiting for robotics to start. That sounds good. Something I used to do actually is, there was some dead period at my old job. There used to be these like really like 3 or 4 hours where no one was doing anything at the tills. And I used to just DM without any book, without anything. They had character sheets. We used to play D&D at the tills, at the counters, because we were so bored, and we'd literally be like, okay, so you do this, you go into a forest, oh, there's a customer, someone go serve them. Serve the customer. Okay, where were we? Like, D&D with interruptions. It was so fun. And I would have only been able to do that because I learned the rules. Because I was like 4 years into DMing at that point. Any questions? I think this is important point for us. I feel like we've done a lot of chatting. We could talk about horror stories. I actually had a video I wanted to watch, a Matt Colville video, because I have a couple ideas, but if anyone's got any like burning questions that they want to ask, go ahead, because I'm ready. But I hope that this has been useful to help you guys start in some point. And I think we're going to do a lot more of these where like we want to start playing the campaign, basically. We'll start learning other things. We'll learn improv. We'll learn other things. I'll probably do a poll again in Discord about what we want to learn next to do with campaign stuff. But I think that's kind of the main thing I want to get across. Looking at Discord. Why did that... I don't know why that blocked you, Axel. I can read that, though. Why did that block you? I feel like it's just Twitch. I've had a lot of horror stories, but again, I'm not going to share them. I'm not going to share them. Is that the block term? Huh. Yep, there it is. Okay, I know what you meant, though. I read the message. I know what you meant. Like, I've had a lot of campaigns where, like, I've never actually been on the receiving end of somebody disliking my character, which is good, but I've never been, like... Oh, that's a good thing, right? I've never had that issue in D&D, which is good. Oh, take off my mask, my place to hide. Okay. Oh, I've done a lot of yapping. These drips of water. I'm getting better at yapping for 2 hours. I always get embarrassed the first time I do a new voice. I'm not good at voices. I'm not that type of DM. I'm not good at character voices. And I try to make them sound different, but I don't know. I just change the way I say things, like enunciation. Like, the way they talk, like the words they use is more important to me. Like if I'm doing a big character, I'll make myself sound a bit more gravelly, or I'll sound, you know, but I'm not like a great voice DM, and I'm not going to pretend to be. And that's okay. I discovered that when I started DMing. I just wasn't good at voices, and I'm not going to pretend like I am. The sad part is I actually was proud of the backstory I made for a changeling. Oh, cool. But then like you played a campaign that like the DM just wasn't epic. That sucks. The Yapinator strikes again. I am the Yapinator. I am the Yapinator. I want to watch a Matt Coble video. Chat. Let's watch a little Coble video, because he did a really good one about DMing a while ago, and I want to watch it. Because I like to watch YouTube with you guys sometimes. I need my daily dose of YouTube. I need YouTube. Matt Coble is awesome. There's a really good video that he did about dungeon mastering. His videos were really used to teach me how to DM. Yeah, if you anyone, this is a video from 9 years ago. It's 12 minutes long, and it was 1 million views. I made a one-shot really to teach people the basics of D&D. Nice! Yeah, the Running the Game series. Yes. I think we're going to watch your first session one, because I like that video. It's I haven't watched a lot of his stuff in a while, so.
You've tracked the goblin.
Hey, get out my ears. He's in my ears. Hello, Matt Coble. What's up, girl boss? I love this man. I watch lots of his streams. Is that embarrassing? I watch a lot of Matt Coble streams. I've fallen asleep to his streams before. You have fairly large ears. I do have fairly large ears. Big ears to see you.
Raiders to their hideout, a tomb that sits
I love
atop a hill.
these guys so much.
Within lies a host of monsters and the girl they kidnapped to
Also, pause. I love the way he talks. He talks so fast. Actually, makes me absorb the information faster. It might be a me thing. I don't know.
use in their fell ritual. If you hurry, she may still be alive.
Yay!
That is a great way to start your first adventure. Just pow, drop the players off in front of the dungeon, describe the entrance, and tell them the stakes.
Yep.
Goblins and treasure inside. Just find the girl.
Just find the girl.
Just
Clear
find
motivation.
the girl.
Maybe the simplest, most straightforward way to get started. Certainly the most old school way to get started. But is it the best way to get started? Well, that's up to you.
Exactly.
But it's certainly not the only way.
He says that so much. That's up to you. That's up to you. That's up to you. That's up to you. It's so true. Like, that might not sound appealing to some people, but it is to some others, right? Oh.
To get started. This episode, we're going to talk about maybe the hardest thing to do in Dungeons & Dragons, and that is getting started. Going from having everybody sitting at the table and you have an adventure ready to actually playing. That transition is always a huge pain in the butt for me. I get nervous, I get anxiety. Once we're playing, no problem. I can run for hours. But getting over that first hump, going from just a bunch of people sitting around a table to playing D&D is for me.
Literally okay, I don't know if anyone else has this, but when I first play the campaign, doesn't matter what game I'm playing, how long I've ran, I still get, like, nervous to, like, start the session. Do you have that? Is that me? I get, like, so nervous to start a session at the beginning of it. I don't know, maybe that's a me thing. It's like stage fright. Yeah, it's kind of like stage fright.
For me, the hardest thing to do. Back in the day, the DM often began an adventure by dropping the players in front of the dungeon and describing the entrance. That's because a lot of adventures began.
I don't actually get anxious when I go live. I only get anxious when I play tabletop, which is so weird because I've been streaming for less time than I've been playing D&D. Dang it, I gotta go work. Keep being awesome. I'll try my best.
And as modules used at conventions in tournament play. That's right, competitive D&D, which I have done and which is a lot of fun. Also in the 1970s, people wanted to play D&D. Specifically, they wanted to explore the dungeon. They wanted to kill monsters and get loot and level up. They weren't really worried about narrative. A question like, what's my motivation, would have seemed strange to Gary Gygax in 1974. He would have said, to get treasure. That's also a result of the fantasy literature that influenced Dungeons & Dragons. Gary Gygax wasn't a huge fan of The Lord of the Rings. He didn't assume that you began the adventure with the talisman that you needed to destroy to save the world because it was the right thing to do. He assumed you were more like Conan and would happily scale the Tower of the Elephant because there was treasure inside. Also because no one had ever done it before. Nowadays, we sort of assume that the players have a clearer motivation for why they're...
so many Matt Coble videos before we end today. There are so many. They're all so good. Like, low-key, if you have, like, a couple hours to spare, just watch all his videos. They're so good. They're such good videos.
They're going on an adventure, sometimes even a personal stake in what's happening. I say all this to you to give you a historical context. A lot of D&D is tradition passed on from one group of players to the next. Also because there isn't one right way to do it. The way they did it back in 1974 still works and is still a lot of fun and is arguably the simplest, most straightforward way to start. But there are other ways to do it. Dusk falls, and 5 travelers come to the Green Dragon Inn for food, warmth, and a place to rest. Several villagers are here, eating, drinking, talking about their day. One day is much the same as another in the hamlet of Villain, but looking at you, something tells these villagers, today will be different. Start in a tavern, great beginning.
Oh my
God. I often see players online.
How many of you guys have started in a tavern? I've started, like, maybe one campaign in a tavern. I started one campaign in a prison once. That was quite fun. D&D is the modern fairy tales. Kind of, yeah. Like, you can do whatever you want with it. But yeah, you start at a tavern. It's tradition, right? Like, it gets passed down. Like, the whole starting at a tavern thing is very practical. Yeah, it works, right? I started the first campaign that I'm currently running on a ship as well. No, they started in an office. Oh my god, that was crazy. They started my space game started in an office. I forgot about that. It was the office of the guy that they were gonna that sent them out for the mission, basically. My username is in fact a reference to the trip. Yeah, the proverbial inn, yeah.
Disparaging, well, every cliche, including that one. But if you're new to this game, there are no cliches. Plus, maybe your players saw the Fellowship of the Ring and remember Aragorn meeting the hobbits at the Inn of the Prancing Pony.
That fellow's done nothing but stare at you since we arrived.
This aura farming.
That man in the corner. Who is he?
He's one of them rangers. Dangerous
He's
folk
aura
they are
farming.
wandering in the wilds. What his right name is, I've never heard, but round here, he's known as Strider.
Strider.
Aragorn is larking, don't call him out.
Great scene. Players, especially new players, enjoy recognizing scenarios from books or comics or movies that they've seen. They've seen the movie, but they haven't played it. This is their opportunity to do the kinds of things they saw in the movies. Meet the mysterious stranger in the inn. Be the mysterious stranger in the inn. Always feel free to rip stuff off. This is your campaign.
Rip off everything. Everything. It's so fun. I love when I get to do a thing that I've seen a guy do. Like, I love to steal moves from games, or like to steal attacks or the way monsters work from other campaigns I've seen, or also like games I've played. I love to gamify my monsters or mechanicize my monsters like that.
Put the stuff you like in it. Starting in a tavern does 2 useful things. 1, it gives the players the opportunity to role play their characters meeting each other for the first time. Players like establishing the relationships in the group. I'm not going to lie to you though, this can also be awkward. Hello. I mean, my character, Gork says, hello. That's going to happen. New players aren't used to role-playing and haven't used those muscles yet, so it can be goofy. It can also be frustrating. The mysterious stranger in the corner ignores you. Okay, well, fine. One of the reasons we do this is because it's fun to do dramatic stuff like that. But if Gork's player sticks to his guns, then he's not going to go on the adventure. One of the things I like to do is go around the table and ask each player to describe their character. I mean, we maybe already know that you're playing Gork the Barbarian, but what does Gork look like? How does he act? How does he seem?
Yeah.
If you ask your players, okay, everybody, we're going to go around the table and everybody introduce your character, tell us what you're playing and what your character looks like and how he behaves, that might be the first time the players ever really thought about that. Plus, we always form impressions about people before they even open their...
I've definitely done that. Like, I don't actually know what my character is doing in a scene, but if you ask me, then I'm thinking about it. That's a good way of talking about it. Like, then I'm thinking about it.
Mouths just by looking at them. It also acts as a safe halfway point between their character being a bunch of stats on a page and actually role-playing them. So while it can be goofy and awkward, starting in a tavern is also fun. Plus, it gives the players the opportunity to role-play their characters and answer the question, wait, how do we know each other? Also, number 2, they want to know, why are we on this adventure? You can just tell them, goblins kidnapped a girl and you've tracked them to their hideout, that's fine. But some players want to experience that, they don't just want to be told it.
Yeah.
Which do you think would be more fun? In the tavern, we have some NPCs to talk to, the innkeep and her husband, their daughter, the serving girl, a merchant carter from another town. Some
I've asked beginners, but they felt awkward, so they just answered. They look like the Hero Forge picture I have. No. No way. Has someone actually done that to you, Prov? I would not allow that. I don't mind if a player is like finding art and they go, oh, they look like my character token. And I'm like, is there anything about your character token that doesn't match your character? Bear in mind, as a DM, your job is to challenge people, even if it might be a bit difficult to do. You want your friend to enjoy the game. And you want your other friends to enjoy the game in the way that they see fit. Like, maybe not everyone has thought about how their character looks, right? But they will be, because other people have put effort into it. You put emphasis on what you want as a player. I like weapons. I like cool big weapons, right? So like, when I get a cool big weapon, or when another player gets a cool big weapon, I'm intrigued as a player, even if it's not mine. Yeah, because like, it might be awkward, right? But you have to kind of ask them, like, the choices of, like, come on, like, so you gotta be a bit goofy about it. Like, come on, like, everyone's gone around, or, you know, you can pick somebody who you know is gonna give a description. I have players who are not the most comfortable with role-playing. I've DM'd those types of people before. And so what I've done is that I've gone around to a player who I know is comfortable role-playing, and I go, X-player, can you please describe your character to me? And they give maybe a short and concise summary. Nothing too daunting, not to scare other people. That other player might, not always, might go, I should probably give a description of my character or think about it. And your job is to collaborate. And also, like, I don't like it when people don't have input on that, like other players. Like, you never started at a tavern, the weird one started at a festival, and the good one started in the middle of an abandoned building. Ooh. Yeah, I was going to say, my first one started in an office. That's interesting. Huh. Yeah, they were, like, at the guy who gave them the mission, basically.
Be friendly, some may challenge the players, but the goal here is to break the ice. Get your players into character by giving them NPCs to talk to and interact with, since they may feel awkward talking to each other. Classically, the easy way to start is to have the serving girl, and it could be a serving boy, we'll talk about stereotypes in another episode, yes we will, come up and just ask the character what they want to drink if they're hungry. Depending on what's happened before...
Map Koval? Hold on. Wait. Because I say that so often, where I'm like, oh, we'll get back to that another time. Am I VTuber Matt Koval? That's a really high pedestal. I don't even believe that. Hold on, I don't believe that. No one say yes because it's not true. An office? Yeah, so I had already given them what the mission was, but the first session, they began by, as a crew, talking to the guy who gave the mission, basically. So they started, because my players are very comfortable role-playing, and I was like, you're in this office, you start talking to the NPC, and you can reveal your character by what information they ask. Like, they all asked questions about to the NPC that was in character. And I think the best way to start a campaign is with a question, mostly. Like, this has happened, what are you going to do about it? Like, mostly. This
may be the first time the player has ever been asked a direct question by another character, and they're going to have to come up with an answer. It may be a...
I just said that! I just said that. Oh god, no, it's becoming true.
Stupid answer. It may be silly, it may be dramatic, but in that moment they are role-playing, and now you're all playing D&D. But what is there to order? We're in a tavern, so we need a menu. Wow, we need people to talk to and a menu to order from, and all of a sudden you're starting to understand why back in the day people said, screw it, let's just start in front of the tomb. You can make all that stuff up, or I can do it for you, which I just did. There are tools online for all of this stuff, including random NPCs, random taverns, random menus. You are not the first person to need solutions to these problems. People have been doing this for 40 years, and they put all their answers up online to save you a lot of work. At some point, after the innkeep has served food and...
It's so much easier to DM now, because if you're like, I need an NPC, but I have no ideas, there are people who make books of NPCs for free. You can find them, get those books, and pick out an NPC you like. Like... You can, there's so many resources. It's people are like, I don't know where to start. It's because there's so much stuff. You start with the first book, and then with the first book, with your core rule book, you look for other resources or look for other ideas. Like, that is the best way to start prepping, in my opinion.
Drinks, and the players have gotten to know each other and the NPCs, something has to happen. A large man wearing a black leather apron over linen shirt and woolen pants bursts in the door. He smells of sulfur and carries a heavy hammer. They got Bess, he says. They got my girl. Goblins have kidnapped the blacksmith's daughter. Well, now we've got an adventure. Your players aren't dumb. They sat down at the table wanting an adventure, and you just put one in front of them. If it occurs to them, the players may just ask the blacksmith what happened. Give them the opportunity to do that. Literally ask them, okay, what do you do? I think about 50% of the DM's job is just describing what happens and then asking the players what they do. The other 50% is, it's complex, but there's pizza in there somewhere. Now, not all players are motivated by a sense of justice and duty. In fact, I think if you're just starting out, most players are motivated by, let's call it enlightened self-interest, which is to say, greed. In our lives, we're expected to do the right thing. There are tons of social pressures on us every day. We have to show up on time. We have to be polite. We have to be respectful. One of the reasons people enjoy playing D&D is it gives them an opportunity to throw all that out and say, hey, why should I help that guy? What's in it for me? And there are lots of examples of classic cool characters saying exactly that.
When they come to get me, Rick, I hope you'll be more of a help.
I'd stick my neck out for nobody.
I'm not going anywhere.
They're gonna execute her. Look, a few minutes ago you said you didn't want to just wait here to be captured. Now all you want to do is stay?
Marching into the detention area is not what I had in mind.
But they're gonna kill her!
Better her than me.
Look, your players aren't dumb. They know when the blacksmith walked in the door saying, goblins kidnapped my daughter, that was the adventure showing up, and they might go, woohoo, let's go. Or they might want a little more motivation, a little bit more convincing. Okay, so here you go. Yeah, a wanted poster. The Invincible Overlord, really it's the local baron, the Invincible Overlord doesn't care about a bunch of goblins, is trying to clean up the area. You can literally print this out and put it in front of your players to read. A prop like this does a great job of motivating the players, 1 silver piece per goblin, and giving them some sense of the politics of the wider world. Who is the baron? Who is the Invincible Overlord? And making the world beyond the tavern seem exotic and dangerous. Ogres, giants, snake men. If all else fails, you can always just have the blacksmith ask the players directly, will you help find my daughter? Or another trick I've used is to have somebody who is obviously unqualified, like an old man or a young girl, volunteer. This often helps motivate the players. So we met in a tavern, we talked to each other, we talked to the locals, we looked at the wanted poster.
Aren't you tired of being nice? Do you want to go ape shit? Yes, then play D&D. Exactly. It's like, are you tired of all these social constraints? Like, I'm a big player who, like, everyone's like, oh, Strange likes to hit things. I'm like, I do like to hit things. That is a thing that I do enjoy.
And then a blacksmith showed up and gave us our motivation. Time to head to the tomb. So where is this place and how do you get there? Players like maps, fact of life, and a lot of DMs like making maps. It's part of the fun of the game. And there are lots of tools for making all sorts of different maps, and we're going to talk about all of them in upcoming episodes. But for now, I'm going to quote Alfred Korzybski, the guy who invented semantics, and say, the map is not the territory. I use maps all the time, but not only do you not need a map, I'm going to argue that there are good reasons not to use a map. We live in a time where it's trivially easy for people to whip their phone out and get directions from anywhere to anywhere. You have a basic understanding of the shape of the earth and the country that you live in and the local area. But that was not true for most of human history. If you were a medieval peasant, it was very easy to live your entire life without ever going more than a few miles outside of town. Maybe you'd visited 1 or 2 towns nearby. Maybe you'd seen a map of the world in church or in one of the few books you had ever seen, but that was unusual. It can therefore be more immersive for you to say, 2 miles to the north lies the Boar Forest, and beyond that, the tomb on the hill. That is how people thought in the Middle Ages, and not only does it save you work, it makes the world feel more dangerous and more mysterious.
No map,
Show the
no
players a
chart,
map and they feel like they understand something. Describe it using language and landmarks, and it feels like the world is a large, mysterious place, which it should. So without a map showing us how to get there, how do we find the tomb?
It also doesn't shoehorn you into ideas. I think when people make maps, they get a little bit in their head about, like, this is where the trees are and this is the geography of the trees and stuff, and I'm like, bro, your players don't care about that most of the time unless you make it interesting, like the map actual has landmarks. But like, if you just say it's in this general direction, it's going to take you this amount of days, and it's going to be dangerous because these things are here, most people will want to go anyways, right? On the topic of character descriptions, giving players opportunity to interact, I remember describing my character as a drow man who was clearly a mercenary for hire, which gave the orc and a woman drow player to expose their character's personality with comments. Oh god. Yeah, because drow females, right? They're matriarchal. It also discourages adding stuff later. It does. But like, I like to give people descriptions of areas. I don't like to draw maps all the time. I really don't. I'm not a big map enjoyer. Because I find it too difficult, or I don't want to put myself in a box and then want to change something later. Like, these guys, before my current campaign, they are doing travel, and all I have given them is the names of the locations that the people know them by. So like, this is the cracked spine. This place is because of this reason. You might find this here. That's pretty much all I've given for description.
Easy. The goblins left tracks. It may occur to the players to go to the smith's house and look for tracks. If they do that, they get to feel like detectives, and that's part of the fun. If they never think of that, have an NPC suggest it. That's what NPCs are for. The goblins left...
Sometimes I literally have a little NPC who's a medieval monk, and he'll just mention things. He kind of fulfills the role of the person who knows alternative stuff about things. Like, he has an alternative perspective because he's just a little medieval peasant, right? So like, they're talking about all this stuff, and then he's like, they're just people, right? Like, he just comes from a different perspective for that reason.
Tracks that are easy to follow. They go north to the Boar Wood. It may occur to the players to ask the locals, hey, what's in the forest? The locals will say, nothing. Boars. It's in the name of the forest. We hunt there all the time. There's no goblins. So the goblins must be somewhere beyond the forest. However big the forest is, it's not something the players can get through in one day. They're going to have to spend the night there. We put the forest between the tomb and the tavern because we want the players to have to spend the night. We want the players to have to take watch in the middle of the forest and be wary, wondering if something's going to attack them in the middle of the night. Why? Because it makes the world feel more mysterious, and it makes the players feel like they're on an adventure, like anything might happen. Anytime the players stop and rest outside of town, I have them roll for a random encounter. We'll do a whole episode later, maybe more than one, on random encounters, but the goal here is to make the world feel dangerous. If the players feel like they can stop and rest anytime they're wounded or low on spells, then they will do so, and that will grind everything to a halt. Players naturally want to avoid risk. Your job is to make everything outside of town seem risky. The world is a dangerous place. But for this episode, I'm going to roll some dice behind the screen and tell the players the evening passes uneventfully. I mean, you can do what you want. You can throw an ogre at them, or maybe a pack of dire boars. It is, after all, in the name of the forest. But our goal here is for the players to finish something tonight, and that means we want to get them to the tomb as quickly as possible. Once outside the forest, after an hour or two of travel, the players will see the tomb on top of a hill. I like to use old Roman ruins for things like this because it communicates to the players this belongs to an ancient civilization. At this point, the players may want to hang back and watch the tomb for a while, see if there's any goblin activity. That's a good idea. Let them do that. Remember, we put a goblin patrol around the tomb on purpose in case they did that. So the players started in a tavern. They met each other. They met the local NPCs. They met the blacksmith. They found out his daughter had been kidnapped by goblins. They followed the goblin tracks through the forest. They spent the night, and the next morning they showed up at the tomb. Now they're sitting and watching, waiting to see what happens. We'll talk about running the tomb, about how many goblins to use, and about what kinds of things are going to happen inside the dungeon next week. Peace out.
Yeah, it's posted next week. We're not back here next week. This was posted 9 years ago. How old are you 9 years ago? Don't tell me. I was still old. I was still a hag 9 years ago. Oh, God. Wow. Oh, joy of anything. Oh, my God. Look at those descriptions. Anyway. I need to put some music on. Oh my god, it is so quiet in here now. I was in middle school. I was not old enough 9 years ago. Oh my gosh. Okay, alright. Let's stop being old. Thank you for coming to the stream, everybody. Let me turn this off. Thank you guys for coming to my stream about how to be an epic DM. Next week, I mean, maybe I might not do one of these next week, but I'm going to do horror story time. Oh no, I forgot about that. I'm so sorry. Tell me your, you know what, let's do this, because I think in the server I'm happy to all my, tell me your horror stories in the Discord, at me, I'm intrigued, I want to see them. Please spoiler them if they've got, like, sensitive subjects in them, you know what I mean, like, if it's D&D horror stories level, censor parts, because, like, I don't want people to be uncomfy, because there are some crazy, do it in D&D and tabletops, I'd say. As opposed to D&D and table bottoms, that is a separate channel. Let's find someone to raid that's within our vicinity. Let's raid Faye. Faye is playing. You're never gonna guess it. She's playing, Wuthering Waves. She's playing for Wuthering Waves. Please go support her channel. This is the last stream of the week. Next week, I will do some Cyberpunk, we will do some Wuthering Waves, and we will do some... something else. I can't remember what it was. Thank you for coming to the stream, and I will see you next time. For now, I may or may not miss you. Where is the table bottom channel? It's called a general chat. You are the table bottom. Goodbye!